So, good morning or good night, depending on where you are in the world, and welcome to another interview of the Chill on a Couch. I'm your host, Hector, and today I'm joined by Bobby Torres from the band Voidscape, who's putting out their debut EP this Friday. So, Bobby, how are you?
I'm great, man. How are you?
I'm good. You have a very Hispanic name.
Yeah, I'm actually I'm half Puerto Rican, so I have family in Puerto Rico.
Oh, nice. Yeah, yeah, because the Torres, yeah, that's
Yep.
awesome. Yeah, and Bobby's like, yeah, short for Robert.
Exactly. Yep. I still haven't been though. I'm 38 years old. I still have not been to Puerto Rico. It's on the bucket list. I got to go one of
Oh,
these days.
you need to come and like if you come, like even though like we're Puerto Rico's known for a lot of like trap and reggaeton music, there's actually a metal scene here.
You know, it's funny. I produced a band once years ago, about 10 years ago, called Mistress Maria, and they were amazing. They were from Puerto Rico. Great
Yeah, I
band.
remember them.
Yeah, they were a really good band. I don't know if they're around anymore, but they were really talented. Had a great time with those guys. They were funny too. Great guys to hang out with.
Yeah, I've heard that name. I don't know if they're still active, but yeah, we have an active scene here. So yeah, we it would be cool, to have you guys here. And so you guys are putting this EP that I was reading that you produced it, recorded it, and did almost everything in your house. So or your own home studio. So
Yes,
how
correct.
did how you're like what I was reading, you're a very DIY kind of band.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, I produce for a living, so I produce metal full time. That's my day job. So that was easy for me because it's something that it's a skill set that I've been working on for the past 20 years almost. So we had that area covered as far as the recording. I actually recently I found out that Mike has been getting into filmmaking, so he's doing all of the music videos. And then between the three of us, and Ninja does a lot, or Justin, the drummer, he does a lot of the business related stuff. So between the three of us, we're pretty DIY. Yeah. And
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I love it how you said like socialantly. Yeah, I've been doing records for or producing band for 20 years. Like, oh yeah, that sounds like an awesome thing to do. So when you were producing this band, it came to a moment like, ah, shit, I want to do my own album.
Actually, sort of, yeah. I mean, I've always played in local bands growing up. In my early 20s, that's when I really got into the production thing, and that kind of took my music took a back seat just because you're so busy as a producer. You're always in the studio, you're always working with bands that it's hard to do your own music sometimes. And no, I also play in another band called King Kelly, which is more of like an experimental rock band, but I've always been a metalhead. And a few years ago, I just had a stockpile of songs I've been working on, and I've worked with Justin, our drummer, and Mike, our singer, in numerous bands. I've worked with them in the studio for years, going over a decade, with their projects. So I called them up and I asked, "Hey, I have these songs. Do you guys want to collaborate?" And then it ended up working out really well. Our personalities gel very well together, just naturally. And those guys are great songwriters. So it's just a very, very organic, natural project, and it's been a blast. I'm happy that we're finally putting the music out, because it's something that I think that I'm proud of, definitely.
Yeah, and so you being a producer, producing so many bands in a long time, is it harder to produce yourself?
It used to be when I was younger, but honestly, I've gotten good at compartmentalizing throughout all these years. So I'm pretty good at being in the musician mindset and then being the producer's mindset separately. It used to be challenging, but I've gotten a decent handle on it now. So for me, it's pretty natural at this point.
So yeah, Voidscape, I was looking, I was listening to the EP. It's pretty kick-ass. So here we have the artwork that was produced by your
Yes.
drummer, if I'm not
Actually,
mistaken.
it was our singer Mike.
Oh, our
He's
singer.
a great
I know. Your
yeah,
singer did this.
he's a great artist. I've always known that. I've always known that he's good at doing the graphic arts thing. But yeah, he's even great at video now. So the dude is multi-talented. So yeah, I
Yeah,
love it.
yeah, it looks pretty cool. It looks like very early 2000s, like metalcore meets like prog,
Yeah.
that type of vibe of album. So yeah, it's called Odyssey of Spite,
Hmm.
and I think it's like a 5-song EP.
Correct.
So yeah, so doing this EP now, doing your own work. How did you went on to decide on the song that you have? for the music video. That I was looking at the video for it. For the song, let me get the song. I forgot the name all of a sudden. The Grief Eclipse, which opens the EP. So the video is pretty cool because, like, you know, you have a metal video where you're all like pissed, like playing on a rooftop somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, man, it was interesting because we had a 2-song demo we did back in 2017. Then we did a single in like 2018, 2019. Then the pandemic happened. And at the start of the pandemic, I asked Mike and Justin to send me any songs that they had or any ideas that they had. And I just kind of got to work on the skeleton of the EP. And I thought to myself, you know, it would be great to have a song that's a little more dissonant, a song that's a little more melodic. To me, the project, I'm a huge At the Gates fan. I grew up listening to At the Gates and bands like Carcass, melodic death metal. And I know those guys love that stuff as well. So to me, we're sort of like an At the Gates mixed with other things. We're the At the Gates of New Jersey. That's the way I look at it, right? We're the American At the Gates of New Jersey. So
at least you didn't name yourself At the Jersey.
I know, right?
At the Jersey Shore.
Oh God, yeah, right.
No, that would have been, yeah. No, I could tell that there's a lot of like melodic death metal to the music, but also it sounds very modern, you know, a modern production. So when you were working on this EP, how did you work on the songs? Like do you like jam on a room together, or do you like send your parts to the other people?
That's a great question, man. This was done completely. My goal personally was I wanted it to sound like we played in a room together when we recorded it. That was not how it was done at all. It was done in a very modern way. So, you know, all of the guys are very tech savvy. So, for example, Mike will come up with his ideas. He has his own home studio. Justin has his own home studio. So when they send me demos, they already sound pretty good. You know, the songs already sound pretty good. So everything was done with programmed drums, you know, like amp simulators, but then everybody would work on their parts on their own. And when we recorded it with real drums, all tube amps, all analog, real amps. And it was recorded in a traditional way. So the way it was created, we used modern tools, but the way that the record was produced and recorded was done in a very old school. My influence actually, from the production standpoint, was I wanted it to sound like Steve Albini sort of produced it, with a lot of ambient mics around the drums, not a lot of effects, not a lot of layering. I wanted to kind of limit myself to only 24 tracks of audio when I recorded and produced it. I didn't want to layer in a bunch of drum samples. And so that was my goal. And I'm happy with the way it turned out. I also experimented a little with some of the tones. Like the interlude was really influenced by the 70s, like a dead kind of 70s sort of vibe with the drums. And yeah, that was my goal with it. And I'm happy with it.
It's the third track that is like an interlude, like a musical interlude that goes to the second. Yeah, it's like a good way to like mellow out just when the other things are coming. So yeah, it's cool that you mentioned Steve Albini because his records are just thinking of Nirvana in Utero and that raw sound that I have on vinyl, the 2013 mix of that album.
Oh, nice, man. That's one of my favorite albums of all time. And he's one of my favorite. It's funny because I've always loved his work, but the older I get, and, you know, I don't know if you're familiar with like the studio stuff. Everything now is so quantized and fixed and drum samples and all that. I've been going back to like his methodology of like what a band sounds like in an actual acoustic environment, right? So that was my vision for it personally, and the guys were on board. So, you know, I'm really happy that they were on board, and it was very organic, you know. But for me, it's a good blend of old school technology or an old school method with the new school method. Like I said, we still use programmed drums to write and pre-produce. Everybody used their home studios, but when we came together and the final thing was crafted, it was done sort of as if Steve Albini produced it. That was kind of like my goal. You know, a lot of ambient mics on the drums. I even had ambient mics on the guitars, which I never do normally. But it gives it a nice kind of analog kind of vibe, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, it's cool that you were able to blend like old school with modern. I just feel bad for boomer bands that are trying to record music. It's like the files go in the computer. Mm-hmm. Like I feel bad for them because I don't think they're gonna get it. Like I just imagine Metallica trying to record that way.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I don't think they're gonna understand it.
It's
But
crazy, man. Yeah, it's an interesting time right now because I think this is just my own personal opinion. I think 10 years ago, 15 years ago, when the technology was new, we were everybody was going overboard with it. And I think now the pendulum is starting to swing back in the other direction where we're starting to listen to older records and we realize that some of the imperfections and some of the human element was kind of lost for a while, in like the 2010s, early 2015, 2016, I started to see things kind of go a little more back to the natural direction. So I love both personally. I love records that are super polished, super machine sounding. And I also love Steve Albini. So I don't know. I can't decide. I love both equally,
Yeah, I blame auto-tune.
Oh, dude. Yeah, exactly. That's that's a whole other, I could talk about that for hours.
I could make a record with auto-tune and it would sound great.
Oh yeah, definitely. And the technology is only getting better now with AI. It's pretty crazy.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that stuff, like where AI, like they create I remember, like a year ago, wasn't there like a Nirvana song that an AI
Oh
created,
yeah.
like a Nirvana song? And I'm sorry, I listened to it. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
that's not Nirvana. Like you can't replace like a lyricist like Kurt Cobain, that
No.
even though he wrote lyrics that to this day they're hard to decipher.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Very. Yeah.
yeah, for example, you can decipher some, but there are some that you're like, what the fuck was he talking about? Like,
Yeah.
they're really cryptic, but I think it's cool because it leaves like interpretation to whoever is listening to the music.
I love it. That's my favorite. That's one of my favorite elements of Nirvana and Kurt Cobain's lyric writing. I'm a huge fan. The thing with AI though, that's crazy is it's in its infancy right now. So it's only going to get better. The thing is that even let's say in theory, let's say AI is perfect and it spits out death metal that sounds exactly like Cannibal Corpse. Here's the thing though, is it's only copying what humans have already done, right? So it's not going to innovate. Then again, maybe it can innovate, but still at the end of the day, I think we're still going to want to connect with human beings. And worst case scenario, it's going to drive up a demand for live music. I think that's my own little prediction is that if AI really does produce your music for you and make music, people are going to they're going to crave human beings even more than ever. And then people are going to want to go to shows, because they want to see people playing.
Just as long as like, I don't know about you, but I'm almost the same. I'm a little bit older than you, but we grew up in the 80s. Like, why are people creating so much AI? Like the Terminator, Matrix, all those iRobot, all those movies, they kill us.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. When it becomes self-aware, right? It's crazy that like a lot of that stuff is sort of coming true now, It's mind-boggling.
Oh my God. Yeah. Like, I know we're going off topic, but I've seen like on the internet, like there's this something on Facebook that I find pathetic as fuck, that it goes like you get like an app, like are you lonely? Talk to an AI woman today. I'm like, why would I talk to a computer program to get horny? Like,
I didn't know that.
yes. And
wow.
And when it popped to me, I felt I was kind of mad. I went to write Facebook, like, why the fuck are you sending me this? I can get laid on my own.
Wow, I didn't even think of that. That's crazy. Oh, that's going to be a huge business then. Definitely.
Yes, but it's crazy. Like it's got like, I think it's flourishing more because the pandemic has, so many people have been so isolated that maybe like younger people don't know how to talk to people anymore.
Well,
And
definitely.
it's a weird timing, but boy, going back to Voidscape. So besides the grief relief, like the other songs, like what are some of the themes that you explore on this EP?
Well, to be honest with you, Mike does all of the lyric writing, right? So, and a lot of the lyrics for it, what's interesting is it's funny that you mentioned Kurt Cobain. I don't know if Mike is a Kurt Cobain fan or not, but I do know that his lyrics, when I read them, are really good because they're vague enough where I can derive my own meaning for them, right? I think a lot of them are honestly, I'm just speculating. I think a lot of them are personal to him, but he writes in such a way where they could be, anyone could derive their own meaning from the actual lyrics. So I don't know exactly, to be honest with you, I don't know exactly what he meant for them to be about. All I know is that the lyrics, I connect with them when I read them, and I think they're very well done. Definitely.
Yeah, that's something that I still love to this day. I love buying a record and sitting down and reading the lyrics.
Yes.
I was very mad when they put out records in the 90s and they didn't put the lyrics.
I hate that. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I don't know if bands right now to put out music, like to cut corners because not many people buy records as much, like would take out the lyrics. Plus you can find them online, but it's not the same like sitting down, getting that piece of paper and reading them, because you get a feel better of what the song is about.
Oh, definitely. While you're listening to it, you're holding something tangible. There's something too physical. I totally agree. I listen to vinyl every day. I for some reason I could stream the music, and of course I stream things. I listen to digital all the time, but something about holding a physical record, looking at the artwork, reading the liner notes, you can't replace that. There's something there, at least for me.
Yeah, but we don't want to be like the old guys yelling at the wind, like in our times. We did a huge line to buy the record at midnight.
Well, it's funny. Even a lot of younger people listen to vinyl now, so there must still be something to it.
I got into vinyl back like when the pandemic started. I started like buying a lot of the albums that I loved growing up. I bought some new ones, but I tried to buy more like albums that I've listened to a lot, since they're not as cheap. Like albums that I know front to back. I'm really trying to get Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness for Smashing Pumpkins, but that shit is expensive.
The original pressing?
Oh, that would be like, I'm trying to get a copy, but they're in like the 200. Sorry, I said 200. Yeah, you were like, oh my god, like,
wow.
If I bought something for 2000, like no one can touch it, no one can see it.
I still have the original CD of that, but I don't have the I don't. You know what's funny? At that point in '95, I think it came out in '95 when that came out. Vinyl. Yeah, vinyl was pretty much dead. I'll never forget this. I'm a huge Kiss fan, and in the early '90s, when I first got into music, there was a Kiss cover album that came out. It was called "Kiss My Ass," and it had all different. It had Lenny Kravitz on it. It had a bunch of different artists. Even Garth Brooks, I think, covered a Kiss song. And I wanted the red vinyl because they released it on red vinyl. Of course, the CD. And I went into Borders Books and Music, and I told the girl, "Oh, I'm looking for the record on vinyl." She's like, "We don't carry vinyl." She gave me and then here we are 30 years later and people love vinyl, But at that time, vinyl was really on its way out and everything was CD. And then of course we had the streaming.
Yeah, I wonder, like in 20 years from now, the CD will be like, because everything moves in cycles.
It's starting to happen. There are YouTube channels where that guys talk about CDs collecting. So I'm already starting to see that happen. And honestly, when I listen to CDs now, they sound phenomenal. They really do sound good, because when we listen to satellite radio or even streaming, it's a little compressed. I mean, it's close. It still sounds great, but CDs are super pure. So CDs still are technically the highest quality that you can really get to this day. So it's going to happen. It's coming around. It's going to be the next thing.
I had like 500 CDs at my parents' house, and I lost, like, I had like years of music.
Yeah, do you still have it?
I also stream, but yeah, I think the thing with the vinyl, it's like the collection. It looks cool. The record goes around, but when I was growing up, it was CDs. I remember that they used to come in a big like box.
Oh, the oversized box, right?
The oversized box, yeah. At least in the half part of the 90s. I remember buying
the earlier half.
Yeah, the earlier half, they did that. Then they said, like, maybe we are like spending a lot of money on doing this, and they cut it out. But I remember just buying an album because I looked at the cover and it looked cool.
Yeah, those days, unfortunately. Same thing. I'm a huge horror movie fan, and I used to love video stores for that exact reason. Going to a mom and pop video store and seeing like an obscure 80s horror movie that you would never in a million years watch, but because it had a cool VHS cover, I used to rent it, and like that, those days are gone. Now everything is streaming and it's instantaneous. But I've noticed that when I stream things, it's too many options, so you don't ever watch anything.
Yeah, and that happens to me too. I'm like picking, and after like 30 minutes of trying to figure out what to watch, I'm like, I just want to go to bed and sleep.
Almost every night this happens to me, So.
Oh yeah, it happens. Unless there's like something that I really want to watch. I was watching the Last of Us because I played the video game.
Really well done.
Yeah, it's really well. What's funny to me is people complaining, "Oh, there aren't enough zombies." I'm like, play the fucking video game. Like, this isn't The Walking Dead.
I know. Yeah. Well, it's funny. Even The Walking Dead, when it came out, people were complaining about the same thing. I remember like at the beginning of 2010, people were like, "Oh, there weren't enough zombies." I'm like, yeah, but zombies are sort of the backdrop. It's about the characters in reality. Same thing with The Last of Us. It's all about the characters. I thought it was great. I thought it was really, really well done.
Yeah,
That's
the thing with the difference between The Last of Us and The Walking Dead is The Last of Us has good actors, like like
Oh, really good.
like A-tier actors,
Yeah.
and The Walking Dead has like C to D tier actors. I'm sorry if I'm offending anyone, but those actors, they're not good.
Yeah. Well, there's a mix. Some of them are really good, and then some of them are,
Yeah, there was one, the Glenn, the guy who
Oh,
died,
yeah.
then he went to do movies and he was good.
Yeah, he's a
But
great
I
actor.
read that he hated doing the show.
Oh, I didn't know that. Interesting.
Yeah, I
Wow.
read that he didn't like doing the show for some reason. So
Wow.
now you're finally putting out this EP that you worked on, I'm guessing, the last few years now. You're releasing it. I think I read that you're releasing it at least on CD, right?
Yeah, I think we're doing a CD and a cassette. Actually, we're doing a cassette release, which I love.
Yeah, that's really retro, and I remember I also had cassettes, because what you do in the 90s is like you would do mixtapes and you would put your favorite songs. Like now you don't have to, you just do a playlist. But back then
Yeah.
you used to do it that way, and it was pretty fun.
I used to do it that way. I'd also record songs off the radio,
That's
so.
what yeah. The only bad thing was when the DJ started talking before the song ended.
Yeah.
You're
Oh,
like,
I hated that. Yeah.
yeah, like, or if they cut, like if it was like a long song and they cut apart, you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like music is cyclical. People are going back. Like when you were talking about the CDs, I actually interviewed this guy who has he has like his own record label where he puts out music that artists put out on MySpace and they never release physically, and now they're releasing those music from MySpace bands physically, because you remember back in 2005 there were a lot of MySpace bands that
Oh, yeah.
they put the music but they never released it as a physical form.
That's a great idea. Wow, that's pretty cool. I wonder
Oh
how
yeah,
he's getting
when I got to interview him, I felt like, yeah, it's a great idea. I can't remember the name now,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was one of the interviews I did last year, and they put out an album by a band that it's all the theme of the music is all the old Twilight Zone episodes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so it's all theme. Every song has to do with the Twilight Zone, like the old program. So I'm like, yeah, that's really interesting, and they're a very hard band. So yeah, I think what's happening now, it's even though we have technology, I think people are realizing that we can use technology with the old methods and create something better, like you were saying that you did for this EP.
Yeah, that's the way I look at it, and the same thing even goes with AI. I'm sure AI we can eventually use to our advantage, where it doesn't get too crazy. I know there's that whole debate now with copyright with art, because AI art is pulling from copyrighted material, but I hope anyway, unless it takes over like the Terminator, I hope AI, I hope AI we could use in the same way. So we'll see. It should be interesting.
Yeah. So what's next for Voidscape? You're releasing the EP this Friday, March 31st.
Yeah.
I'll put the link so people can pre-order it if they, want to buy it. We were talking offline that you have some shows, I think in the next month, right?
Yeah, we have our very first show ever on April 29th, I believe. First time we've ever played together. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, no nerves.
Yeah, no, well, it's funny. I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't played a gig because I've been between the pandemic and producing, I haven't played an actual live show in 7 years. So I'm pumped. I can't wait. I can't wait to play.
Oh yeah. Just as long as you don't get there and there's like they have like TVs with the AI people watching.
Oh god. Oh yeah.
You'll be like, yeah, like fuck no. Where are the people? So where is this show? Where are you guys playing?
It's at a new place called I think it's called the Ambassador. I believe it's in a place. It's in an area called South Hackensack, which is actually close to where we all live. It's interesting from what I've noticed. I don't know how it is by you guys, but by us, bigger venues, or I should say like 100 to 500 seat venues in our immediate area, they're kind of disappearing in Jersey.
Yeah.
So you'll have bigger venues, obviously like Starland Ballroom. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, or like the Wellmont in Montclair. But a lot of these like multimedia places are popping up, and I think this is one of them where they like record the set and I don't know if they stream it online. I'm not sure what the deal is, but it's a newer. I think it's a newer place. I had never heard of it, so I'm curious to check it out. It should be cool.
Yeah, here in Puerto Rico, we have like a huge stadium, but it's more reserved for pop acts, and there's some rock bands that play there, but the bigger acts.
Yeah,
But
of course.
we get like smaller bands, and they play in like there's like a little place called La Respuesta, and it's like a local joint, like real small. And I saw back in February a band called Uwada. It's like a black metal band.
Oh, cool.
From Oregon, and they played there. So
And it's like a venue at a PA, like a regular venue, or is it more like a bar kind of place?
It's like they have a bar, but they also have like a tiny stage, so it's like a venue. But it's really cool. Like you see what you get. We've had bands play there from different areas. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's good, because you need places like that for bands that aren't huge, and unfortunately by us, they're kind of disappearing. I don't know if it's because of the pandemic. I'm not sure what the reason is, but it's funny. The most popular venue for younger people to play by me is a place called the Meat Locker. And dude, it's literally a basement. Like but it's cool, man. People love it. It's packed all the time,
We had a place in Puerto Rico that closed. It was called the Warehouse. And they would have concerts there, and it was exactly that, a warehouse.
That's cool.
But I know why it closed. It had like one entryway, enter, so it was like a small hallway. So like back then I didn't think about it, but now as an adult, I'm thinking if there was a fire there, we would have all died.
Of course, yeah. Those are the things I think about as well now,
Like that. Yeah, I know. You get older and you enter a venue and you're like, where are the exits?
Yeah.
I didn't think about that like younger, but now I do. I have kids.
Oh yeah.
I want to stay alive. So so you think about that shit when you're older.
Totally.
But it's like, remember a few years ago, I think it was, I don't know if it was 10 or 15 years ago, that Whitesnake show.
Oh yeah, Great White.
That it caught fire.
Yeah, people died. Yeah, great. I was the band. I think it was Great White. The band Great White.
Yeah,
it was a smaller club. I don't remember what state it was in, but yeah, that's scary, man. That's scary stuff.
So yeah, and I think that things that have hurt like smaller venues is like what happened to Dimebag Darrell when he was with Damageplan, that he got shot in stage in a small venue. So I think and obviously the pandemic, but I don't know about I think you feel the same way about me. I love small shows.
Me too.
It's more personal. You get to feel the music more. It's cool to see like a huge band like Metallica, Ghost in a huge stadium tour, and yeah, it's awesome. But you can't really connect like the way that you do when you're in a small club, and you feel the sweat. You feel the vibration. That's why you have to put earplugs. I didn't do that younger, but now I'm like, I don't want to be deaf.
Yeah. No, I agree, man. And it's funny. I do a little bit of live sound, and as a live sound man, I prefer smaller shows as well. It's way more fun. I mean, I've never done sound at like an arena, but I've done like bigger venues. Like I did sound at this place called the Gramercy in New York, and it's nice. It's big, but for me, the smaller venues, I don't know. They're like you said, it's more intimate. It's just more fun overall. As long as it's not overly packed and uncomfortably packed. Overall, I do prefer smaller shows to play, and also to when I'm doing the sound. That's just me.
Yeah, it's just a different experience. So you're putting out this EP on Friday. Are you guys already working on more music?
Oh yeah. I'm not sure. I have to talk to the guys. We're either going to do another EP right away, or we're going to do a full length. So it's going to be one or the other.
Ideas with your songs, or are you combining the songs that you're putting out?
Well, we're gonna new songs. So awesome. It would be like, generally how it's kind of worked so far. I'll ask the guys, send me ideas you have, because I don't know if you know this, but Justin, our drummer, is in like 4 or 5. This isn't an exaggeration. He's in 4 or 5 bands, and Mike, our singer, is in 4 or 5 bands. So these guys are super, super productive as musicians, and they could spit out ideas like there's no tomorrow. Also, when they come in to record with me, I take forever to do my guitars and my bass and everything else. Justin will do the drums in one day, and then Mike will do the vocals sometimes in one take. Like he will literally will come in and just bang through the song once. And I'm like, all right, you want to do some doubles? Okay. And within 3 hours, the whole EP is done. So it's a lot of fun.
And his vocals were like death metal, thrash metal type of vibe to them.
Totally.
And I saw the video and you know, he's got that long flowing, like curly hair. He's got that lead singer look.
Totally,
that classic 90s, like where you had to have the look, the hair, and you put like a fan so the hair would blow in the wind.
I agree, man. Yeah, he's got that kind of like carcass at the gates kind of voice, you know, which I love.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. So yeah, can't wait it would be awesome to listen to newer music from the band. So people, the EP is dropping this Friday. I'm gonna show the artwork once again, so people can. So this is the Voidscape, and you can pre-order it. I think it's coming out on $20 Ping Records, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I read it correctly. $20 Ping. So I'll put the link so people can pre-order it. So, Bobby, any last things that you would like to say to people who watch this video?
Yeah, no, just stay tuned. If you like what you hear, pick up the EP, and there's a lot more in store. I can't wait. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Nice. So you heard it here first on the Shield on a Couch. So Bobby, again, lots of success with the EP. I would recommend this to everyone who likes technical death metal, thrash metal, and also like you heard it here. It was produced in a way that you took the old school with the modern. So you can please the boomers. and also the Generation X, and you know, the whatever this generation is called now, you know, there's Gen so many things I get. I'm Generation X, so I can get confused.
Awesome.
So until next time, people, this is Hector, the Shield on a Couch, and I'll see you right here on the couch. Thank you and good night.